Welcome to Diamonds and Dumpster Fires, the show where we talk about finding strength when life falls apart. I'm your host, Melie, and around here, resilience isn't perfection. It's falling flat, getting back up, and maybe laughing about it later. From breakups to breakthroughs, we mix faith, neuroscience, and a little sass to help you rebuild a life that actually feels like yours. Are you ready? Let's go. Hello, friends, and welcome back to Diamonds and Dumpster Fires, the podcast where we find hope, humor, and holy perspective when life falls apart. Today's episode is for anyone who feels like they just can't catch a break. You know the feeling. You barely get through one hard thing, and then here comes another, and then another. You're not even standing anymore. You're just crawling through the wreckage, hoping not to get hit by flying emotional debris. And if that is you right now, I want you to hang tight. You are not broken and you are not failing. You are simply in a season that's demanding more from you than it should. And today we're going to talk about how to survive that with your heart, your humor, and your faith still intact. So let's talk about what happens when you get hit with setback after setback. Let's say you lose your job, and then your relationship falls apart. Maybe you're trying to recover from surgery, and then your car dies, and then you stub your toe. You get it. Or maybe you're grieving someone you love, and people around you still expect you to show up and smile like nothing has happened. That one more thing that happens becomes a weight that feels unbearable. And it's not just one crisis. It's the stacking of them that starts to break you down. This situation is what I call the resilience pileup. And when you're in the middle of it, your brain goes into survival mode. You're not thinking about growth or goals. You're really just trying to make it to bedtime without crying in a grocery store parking lot. And if you have been there, you're not alone. When I was going through my divorce, it was like one thing after another kept coming. At first, I was out of work, and I was obviously losing the most important relationship of my life. I had to move, and at that time I also got diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. Then it seemed like I had gotten my career on path, things were going great at my job, and then I went through a layoff. And then, of course, you know what's happened for me relationally since my divorce. I got out there and tried dating like a champ, but it completely broke me down. Honestly, dating these days is not for the faint of heart. It is truly brutal, but there is this little part of me that still believes there's love out there. I still believe I can find what I'm looking for. But let's get back to this topic. Resilience in seasons like this, where everything just keeps piling up, is not about thriving. It is absolutely not about bouncing back with a Pinterest perfect attitude. It's not look at me go. It's more like, look at me. I'm still here somehow. Resilience is getting up even if you're dragging yourself emotionally. Resilience is making the phone call even though you feel like an imposter. Resilience is choosing to pray even when you feel like God's been quiet. And resilience is saying no when people expect too much of you. And most importantly, it's giving yourself permission to not be impressive right now. That is not a weakness, that is wisdom. God does not expect you to perform your pain. He wants your heart. He wants your honesty. And sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is sit down and cry and just say, Lord, I'm tired. Please help. Now, of course, these moments might not be something that we seek, but I will say that it is often in these moments when I personally feel the closest to God. I'm going to share a personal story where this recently showed up in my life. So I had this on and off friendship for a while, over a year. And right now it is sadly in off mode, and I honestly believe it will stay that way through eternity, to make it dramatic. But right now it has been a few months since we said our final goodbyes, and at first I was feeling really low and not wanting to do anything, as we often do when we go through something like the loss of a friendship or a dream that has ended. And in this case, it was kind of a little bit of both of those things. But in the midst of ending that friendship, which was incredibly painful for me, I was reminded of the hymn, I Surrender All. And when I thought about it, I actually put it on my phone screen, on the lock screen, as a reminder to myself that I need to surrender the outcome of what it is that I want and let God rule my life. So I put that lock screen on my phone Sunday early morning. Then I went to church. And at church that morning, the band sang that hymn. And I was not attending a church that does hymns all the time, so this was like extra strange. And I knew that even though I didn't feel strong in that moment, choosing to still show up for myself and trust God was exactly what I needed at that time. So let's talk about that voice in your head saying, I should be stronger than this. From a neuroscience perspective, let me set the record straight. You are not weak. Your nervous system is doing its job under extreme pressure. When you're in a prolonged season of stress or trauma, your brain will start to operate from what's called the limbic system. This is the part that's responsible for survival responses. This is your fight, flight, freeze, fawn center. And when the hits keep coming, your brain doesn't have the capacity to be strong and logical 24/7. It's honestly just trying to keep you alive and safe. Add in something else called allostatic load, which is the wear and tear on your body from chronic stress, and it becomes biologically harder to function like your normal self. This means you're not being lazy or dramatic. You are burnt out at a cellular level. I was recently reading a study on allostatic load, and it said that it is now documented that those in that state have poorer health outcomes than those who are not in this state. So not only is it harder for you to function, your health may be taking a hit when you stay in this place as well. Even your prefrontal cortex, which is the part of your brain responsible for focus, problem solving, and emotional regulation, gets overwhelmed when stress is high. That's why it's harder to make decisions, remember things, or stay emotionally steady. There was this night, it was around the time when I was going through my divorce, where I couldn't stop crying over really little things. Maybe it was a dropped book or an unanswered text. And I remember thinking, why am I like this? I should be moving forward by now. But what I didn't know then was that my brain was operating in survival mode. So that lie that says I should be stronger, it's ignoring the actual science of how our bodies respond to crisis. You're not broken, you're just maxed out. Even Jesus wept. Even he stepped away to rest, to grieve, to recharge. He felt things deeply and he still fulfilled his purpose. So maybe today your strength is actually doing less, asking for help. Maybe you need to just let the dishes sit in the sink today. Maybe you need to take a nap without guilt. Strength looks different when you're healing, and that is totally okay. So what do we do when life will not stop throwing bricks at us? Here are a few simple anchors that I hope will help keep you grounded. Number 1, truth over emotion. When you feel overwhelmed, speak truth out loud. This can be scripture, this can be affirmations, or just say to yourself, this won't last forever, and that can help to redirect your mind. Number 2, focus on small wins, literally the smallest thing. So maybe for you today that is just drink some water. Maybe it means folding your laundry or emailing somebody back. It's not about productivity. It's about reminding yourself that you can still do something even if it's small. Number 3 is set boundaries. Emotional survival sometimes means disappointing people, and that is totally okay. You are not here to meet everyone's expectations. You're here to heal. So set those boundaries, state them, and stand firm in them. I know that can be really hard to do, but it is so important to take care of yourself. Number 4, gratitude with grit. And I know it can feel cliche, but if all you can be grateful for is your blanket and your coffee today, that is totally enough. Gratitude keeps your heart open even when everything else feels closed off. So I'd recommend just take a few moments, maybe each morning or each evening, to write down 1 to 3 things that you are currently grateful for. And number 5, community that sees you. If you don't have anyone right now, let this podcast be that for you. Or come join me over on Instagram and join in the comments there where we can have some conversations, because I see you, I have lived this, and I believe better days are coming, even if you can't see them yet. So friend, if life is throwing punches, you don't have to pretend you're not hurting. It's okay to be honest about how hard it is. It's okay to need a break. And it's okay to ask God to show up in a way that you can feel, because He will. Maybe it won't happen in the way you expect, but He's not far. He's always near to the brokenhearted and close to those crushed in spirit. But here is something else that I want you to know, something that is backed by both faith and neuroscience. Every time you speak truth to yourself, you are not just surviving, you are rewiring your brain. You know how much I love the concept of neuroplasticity, and this is a concept called self-directed neuroplasticity, and it means that your brain is constantly changing based on what you repeatedly think, say, and believe. So when you say things to yourself like, I am not alone, God is with me even here, this won't last forever, I am stronger than I feel, you're not just reciting fluffy affirmations. You are actually rewiring neural pathways that make it easier to find hope the next time things get hard. Your brain learns through repetition, so if all you feed it is fear, shame, or despair, that's going to become your default wiring. But if you start speaking truth, even when it doesn't feel fully true yet, your brain begins to rebuild around that truth. Faith isn't about denying the darkness. It's about declaring that light still exists and choosing to move toward it one hard step at a time. So say the truth out loud. Whisper it if you have to. Write it down. Put it on your mirror. Let your brain and your spirit hear the words of life and hope until they take root again. You're not stuck. You're healing. Slowly, intentionally, with the help of a God who made your brain capable of transformation. Here's one way that I have started adding this into my own life. I started writing down one truth on several mornings. I don't do it every morning, but when I do, I write down just one truth. And some days it was as simple as, God is with me even now. Some days I will write out a Bible verse that speaks to what I'm going through, and I'll be honest with you, at first it felt a little gimmicky, but over time something shifted. I didn't panic as easily. I could breathe again. It didn't fix everything, but it gave me a way to show up for myself. And now I want to talk about something in a real way, because that is the whole point of this podcast. I don't want to just give you these resilience tactics that seem sort of, lofty or whatever. I want this to be really actionable and really real. So let's talk. Sometimes you hear things like speak truth to yourself or celebrate small wins, the kind of stuff I was telling you, but maybe you think, oh, that's so cute. I'm just trying not to scream into a throw pillow right now, though, so maybe go away with the cute little ideas. When the hits keep coming, your body can shift into a dysregulated state, fight, flight, freeze, or fawn without you even realizing it. And when you are in that state, your thinking brain is not online. Maybe your breath shortens. Maybe your muscles tense up. Maybe your thoughts start racing or looping, and maybe your chest feels tight. So if you are in that state right now, this is where resilience triage comes in. Because before you do anything else, before you try to change your thoughts or fix your life, you have to start with regulation. That means helping your nervous system calm down enough to function. So here are a few tools that can help when you're in that state and feeling overwhelmed. Number one, cold water or ice. Sounds kind of weird, but if you put cold water or ice on your face or even on your wrists, this can activate the dive reflex, helping bring your nervous system back to baseline. You can also try something that's known as box breathing. This is where you inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, exhale for 4 counts, and then hold for 4 counts. Just doing 2 or 3 rounds of that can make a difference. And if you're wondering why they call it box breathing, it's because the 4, 4, 4, 4 all around makes a box. Another one you can do that is really helpful, it seems very basic, but I promise you it works, is the name 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. This is a grounding technique that really pulls you back into the present. And another idea, and honestly one of my favorites, is to move your body gently. You can stretch your arms overhead, shake out your hands, stand up and walk to a different room. To be honest, I will often do like light dancing around my living room to move my body, and it just feels really good. And it also gives your brain sensory feedback that you're safe. So remember, the goal when you are feeling this fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response is not to feel amazing at that moment. It's to feel a little bit safer. a little more stable. And once you do that, you can start to reach for the hope again. But first, give your body what it needs to come out of the storm. There are so many stories that I could tell you about times when I couldn't think clearly or emotionally regulate, when I was overwhelmed, anxious, spiraling, and I really had to just kind of go back to the basics. And I will tell you that movement tool has helped me so many times. And also the name 5 things, 4 things, 3, 2, 1. It's very simple because you can do that anywhere. You can even do it, by yourself. Say you're sitting in a waiting room somewhere. You can look around and, you see a chair, you see a light, you see the receptionist. You just go through in your head and name those things. So I want to tell you from experience that doing these things, although I am the first person to be skeptical of any kind of little exercise or whatever, I can tell you they have worked for me and I really believe they will work for you too. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today. If this episode hit home, please share it with someone else who's been in a rough season. And if you want more encouragement, check out past episodes or head to my website for free resources, including my new GEM framework. It will help you rewire your brain and have a healthy mindset. Remember, resilience isn't about being unbreakable. It's about discovering that even when life breaks you, you are never beyond repair. You are being rebuilt, stronger, softer, wiser, and yes, even more radiant. Because, friend, you are a diamond, and even in the middle of the dumpster fire, you shine. See you next time. If this episode hit home, you are going to love my GEM framework. It's my go-to guide for getting grounded, elevating your mindset, and moving forward with purpose. You can download it for free at diamondsindumpsterfires.com/GEM. That's GEM. And start turning your dumpster fires into something that sparkles.